Welcome back and Happy New Year, my fellow gamers. 2020 is finally over and I can't wait to see what 2021 has in store for us. I should have kept my mouth shut. You know, talking about catastrophes and the end of the world, I finally have the chance to bring to you a game whose theme is something I'm very fond of. It is with joy and lightheartedness that I'm going to talk to you about Arkham Horror Final Hour. This is a co-op board game in which you take the role of investigators trying to reverse the opening of a portal and seal away an ancient one. If you're familiar with the scripts of H.P. Lovecraft, you surely know what I'm talking about. Place the board and choose your character by taking the corresponding token and a 10-card action deck. The first player receives the lead investigator token. Put all the standard monster tokens in a bag, from which you draw them randomly. For the next step, pick the sheet of an ancient one to fight and then resolve its setup by gathering the special monsters and choosing the difficulty level. You'll also place the ritual location token and the gate tokens in the circle of a specific location, and the monster tokens in the empty monster spaces. Then flip the ancient one sheet over. Place your investigator tokens at the ritual location, then mix the remaining gate tokens, remove one from the game randomly and place the rest in the gate stack. Gather the red clue tokens, mix them and place two of them face down in the two blank spaces at the bottom of the board. Take the three key clue tokens and mix them with the other clue tokens, then place a clue token in each location without a gate or ritual token. Deal 4 priority cards to each player, as well as health tokens, and lastly, create a supply of seal tokens, item cards, and damage tokens. The game is played over a maximum of 8 rounds. The first half of every round is the action phase, in which players will have to move through the campus, investigate, and fight monsters, while the second half is the Ancient One phase, in which your outer world enemy will basically do a lot of bad things. In the action phase, the team of investigators will play action cards paired with priority cards. Action cards have an always positive top effect for the team, and a bottom effect with both good and bad consequences. Starting from the lead investigator and going clockwise, the team takes a total of 4 turns. So if the team has less than 4 players, some of you will play more than once in this phase. On their turn, investigators will draw one action card from their deck, read it secretly and play it face down in front of them. Then they will have to choose and play a face-up priority card on that action card, and then draw a new one from the common deck. Priority cards are numbered from 1 to 30, and their number determines which effect of the 4 action cards will be performed. These cards may display a certain amount of omen symbols, whose effect will be explained shortly. Keep in mind that players must not discuss their strategy or reveal information while playing these cards. Players will then take turns to reveal their action cards in ascending order, based on the number of priority cards attached to them. For the first 2 action cards, the top effects will be performed, and the bottom effect for the last 2. In the second half of the action phase, you may discuss your strategy once you've revealed your card. When all the 4 actions are resolved, discard them next to your investigator's deck. Don't discard the priority cards yet. The Ancient One phase is next, and is made of 3 steps. In the Reckoning step, players will add up the number of omen icons on the previously played priority cards and apply the effect on the Ancient One's sheet with the same number. In the Gate step, the lead investigator reveals the top gate token from the stack and places it on the corresponding tokens on the board. Then a number of monsters are spawned equal to the number of gate tokens in that location. In the last step, the leader token is passed to the next player in clockwise order. If the gate stack is empty, the investigators must immediately attempt to reverse the ritual instead of playing another round. The team may try to perform this special phase even before the last round, if all players agree to do that. To do so, the investigators need to have enough priority cards showing the same symbols of the 2 secret clue tokens which were set aside at the beginning of the game. To guess which icons are concealed in the 2 tokens, players must have investigated enough clue tokens at locations to reduce the chances of a wrong deduction. For this special phase, the investigators must first commit 3 priority cards from their hands face down, and then reveal all them at the same time. The lead investigator then reveals the 2 secret clue tokens, and the whole team counts the committed cards with the same symbols of the tokens. If both tokens share the same symbol, each card is counted twice. If the number of matching cards is equal or bigger than the number of players times 2, the team of investigators wins the game. On the other hand, if the team doesn't succeed in reversing the ritual, an investigator loses all the health tokens, or the ritual location can't contain any other monster or damage token, the team loses the game. Now let's talk about the card effects. Through action cards, you may move your characters to locations connected by the walkway. You may move a number of spaces indicated on your card. Always place your investigator next to the location's name. When you attack, distribute an amount of hits indicated in the card to the monsters of your location. If the hit points of a monster is reduced to 0, that monster is destroyed and placed next to the monster supply, while defeated special monsters will be placed next to the Ancient Ones sheet. If you can't assign a monster enough hits, that monster's health is not reduced. You may of course investigate a location and flip its clue token. If it's an item, return that token to the box, draw a card from the item deck and place it next to your action deck. Items are useful tools whose effect may be applied by the players in a certain moment of the game. If the clue token has a red ritual icon, place that token on its specific space at the bottom of the board. This action may help your team understand which priority cards to save for the inversion of the ritual. You may seal a location to prevent monsters from reaching it by placing a seal token on a walkway with its gold side face up. A monster trying to move along that direction is destroyed, and the seal token is flipped to the grey side for a second use. Then it is discarded. Some cards will allow you to heal a character by flipping its health token to its red side, because oftentimes in the game, monsters and the Ancient Ones effects will deal damage to investigators. Lastly, you may repair a damaged location by removing a damage token from it. Locations may be damaged by card effects, monsters, or by the Ancient One. The design investigator will place a damage token in an empty monster space of that location, or move a monster to a next location if all spaces of that place are to be occupied by damage tokens. Now off to the enemies effects. Monsters are to be spawned one at a time at locations during the Ancient One phase or by card effects. When a monster spawns, the lead investigator draws a monster token from the bag randomly and places it on an empty space in that location. In case of no monsters left in the bag, the player replaces and shuffles all the defeated monsters into the bag to draw a new one. Special monsters are just already revealed enemies spawning from the Ancient Ones sheet. Monsters can move to a location according to their color. Blue monsters follow blue arrows and red monsters red arrows. If a location has not space left for them, monsters will proceed along the lines until they reach a place with empty spaces. However, if monsters can't reach other spaces, they must move directly into their ritual location and remain there unless killed or forced to leave by some card effects. Some action cards will activate monsters in a zone. The player resolving the action card will activate monsters of the location in ascending order. The activation of monsters may trigger 3 different effects, to be resolved in this order. Killer, which deals 1 damage to an investigator in that location. Runner, which will move the monster of a space. And Wrecker, which will cause the monster to damage a space of that location. Monsters may be activated only once per round, so if you move the monster to a location with other enemies yet to be activated by the same action card, rotate that first monster of 45 degrees. Arkham Horror Final Hour even provides for a solo mode, which I leave it to you to discover. What else is to say? I've been waiting to explain an Arkham Files game for a long time, and finally, here it is, for all of you game lovers. If you're into Lovecraftian things, short-lived, immersive and strongly themed co-op board games, I highly recommend you to get Final Hour. It is also the perfect gateway to introduce you to other amazing games of the same products line by Fantasy Flight Games. With this said, thank you so much for watching this video, remember to subscribe if you didn't, and tell your friends I'm a very funny guy. See you in a bit.